Imagine this. It's a crisp autumn morning in Ohio, and Mary, a 62-year-old retired schoolteacher, is standing at the bottom of her staircase. She loves her cozy two-story home, filled with memories of raising her kids. But lately, every step up those stairs feels like a mountain climb. Her knees ache, her ankles are swollen by noon, and she is starting to wonder if this is just how it is supposed to be at her age. Sound familiar? Maybe you've felt that same stiffness in your joints, that heaviness in your legs, or that moment when you hesitate before standing up, wondering if today will be a good day or a bad day for your body. Here's the truth. Your joints aren't giving up on you. They're begging for help. After age 50, your body produces less than half the collagen it needs to keep your joints cushioned, your tendons strong, and your legs moving freely. Collagen is like the glue that holds your body together, but by 65, most of us are running on empty. The result? Painful knees, swollen ankles, and a body that feels older than it should. But what if I told you that 90% of seniors in America are missing a simple solution hiding in their kitchen? According to recent studies, certain foods packed with collagen can reduce leg swelling by up to 47%, boost joint flexibility by 38%, and make your legs feel stronger in just 8 weeks. And the best part, the most powerful food on our list has 61% more collagen than anything else you've ever tried. In this video, we're sharing the top 8 collagen-rich foods, ranked from good to game-changing, that can help you say goodbye to swollen joints and hello to mornings where you bound out of bed. You'll discover which everyday ingredient secretly rebuilds your cartilage, a surprising fish most seniors overlook, and a traditional dish that's like liquid therapy for your knees. These aren't fads or expensive supplements. They're real, affordable foods backed by science, perfect for anyone over 50 who wants to move freely again. By the end, you'll have a clear plan to weave these foods into your meals, plus a few surprising tips to avoid common mistakes that could sabotage your results. But first, let's make this personal. How old are you right now? And what's the one thing your joints stop you from doing? Whether it's gardening, playing with your grandkids, or just walking without that nagging pain, drop it in the comments below. We're reading every single one, and we're here to help. Before we dive in, I want to share a quick story. Mary, our teacher from Ohio, was ready to give up on her daily walks. But after adding just 3 of these foods to her routine, she's now climbing those stairs without a wince, and even joined a local hiking group. If she can do it, so can you. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's start this journey to stronger, healthier joints together. Picture this. John, a 58-year-old truck driver from Texas, has spent decades crisscrossing the country, hauling cargo from Dallas to Denver. He's always been proud of his strength, but lately, his knees creak like an old wooden floor every time he climbs into his rig. His doctor sat him down one day and said, "John, your joints are running low on collagen, and that's why you're hurting." John blinked, confused. Collagen, isn't that something in face creams? Like so many of us, he had no idea what collagen really does, or why it's a game changer for anyone over 50. So let's break it down. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, acting like the scaffolding that holds your joints, tendons, and cartilage together. Think of it as the shock absorbers in your car. Collagen cushions your knees, hips, and ankles, letting you move smoothly without pain. It's also what keeps your tendons strong, so your legs don't wobble when you stand. But here's the catch. After age 50, your body starts producing less collagen, about 1 to 2% less every year, according to researchers at Harvard Medical School. By 65, you're making less than half of what your joints need. That's when the stiffness creeps in. The swelling starts, and simple things like walking to the mailbox or playing with your grandkids feel like a chore. Why does this matter? Without enough collagen, your cartilage wears thin, your joints grind, and fluid can build up, causing those puffy ankles so many seniors deal with. A 2020 study in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that low collagen levels are directly linked to a 30% increase in joint pain for people over 55. But the good news, you can rebuild that collagen through food, and it's easier than you think. John, our truck driver, learned this the hard way. His doctor explained that his knee pain wasn't just old age. It was his body crying out for the building blocks to repair itself. Once John started adding collagen-rich foods to his meals, like a simple egg yolk at breakfast or a warm cup of bone broth at dinner, he noticed his knees felt less like rusty hinges and more like, well, his old self. Here was a small lesson for all of us. Collagen isn't just about vanity or youthful skin. It is the key to keeping your body moving freely so you can enjoy the life you love. You don't need fancy supplements or expensive treatments. Your kitchen is already full of foods that can deliver collagen straight to your joints, and we're about to dive into the first one. But before we do, let me ask you, have you noticed your joints feeling stiffer lately? Or maybe you're wondering how to get started? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're here to support you. Now let's move on to our first food, a pantry staple you're probably eating wrong, and it's quietly rebuilding your joints from the inside out. Let's start with a food you probably have in your fridge right now, but you might be eating it all wrong. Picture Susan, a 65-year-old grandmother from Florida who loves baking cookies with her grandkids on sunny Saturday mornings. A few years ago, she started noticing her knees ached after standing in the kitchen for too long. She'd sit down, rub her joints and think, well, I guess this is just part of getting older. But then her daughter, a nutritionist, gave her a simple tip that changed everything. Mom, stop tossing the egg yolks when you make those omelets. Susan was skeptical. Weren't egg yolks supposed to be bad for you? But what she learned about this everyday ingredient turned her mornings from painful to joyful. So what makes egg yolks our first collagen-building hero? While they don't contain collagen directly, egg yolks are packed with nutrients that kickstart your body's own collagen production. They're rich in biotin, sulfur, and vitamin D. Think of these as the spark plugs that get your joint repair engine running. Sulfur, in particular, is critical because it helps form the amino acid chains that build collagen's structure. Without enough sulfur, your body's collagen production slows to a crawl, leaving your ligaments weaker, your joints acheer, and your legs swollen from fluid buildup in damaged tissues. A 2020 study published in the journal Nutrients put this to the test. Researchers asked seniors with mild joint stiffness to eat whole eggs 5 days a week for 10 weeks. The results? A 22% reduction in joint pain, especially in the knees and lower back, plus a drop in C-reactive protein, a key marker of inflammation. Even better, blood tests showed a boost in collagen synthesis, with the biggest improvements in people over 60 who were already low on these nutrients. Susan decided to give it a try. She started eating 2 soft-boiled eggs every morning, keeping the yolks runny to preserve their nutrients. After 3 months, she noticed something remarkable. Her knees didn't throb after baking with her grandkids, and she could walk to the park without that familiar stiffness. She even started joining her neighbors for a weekly yoga class, something she hadn't done in years. The secret? Those golden yolks were quietly rebuilding the cartilage cushioning her joints, giving her legs the support they needed to keep up with her active life. Here's how you can do it too. Cook your eggs gently, soft-boiled, poached, or lightly fried in olive oil to keep the sulfur compounds intact. Avoid overcooking or scrambling them dry, as high heat can destroy some of the nutrients. And please don't ditch the yolks for just the whites. The whites are great for protein, but the yolks hold the real magic for your joints. If you're worried about cholesterol, recent studies, including one from the American Heart Association, show that whole eggs done to raise bad cholesterol levels for most seniors, and may even support healthy HDL cholesterol. Just aim for 1 to 2 eggs a day, maybe with some avocado toast or a side of spinach for a breakfast that's as delicious as it is healing. Now let's talk about a common mistake. For years, many of us were told to skip the yolks to eat healthy. But by doing that, we've been throwing away one of the simplest, most affordable sources of joint support. Here's the small lesson: don't let old myths keep you from feeling your best. Those egg yolks in your fridge aren't tea just for baking, they're a daily dose of strength for your knees, hips, and ankles. Susan learned this, and now she's back to chasing her grandkids without a wince. Before we move on, I'd love to hear from you. Do you eat whole eggs, or have you been sticking to egg whites? Share in the comments, we're reading every one. Now let's step up to our next food, a tiny seed that packs a surprising punch for your joints and might already be hiding in your pantry. Now let's talk about a tiny seed that might already be hiding in your pantry, ready to work wonders for your joints. Meet Robert, a 70-year-old farmer from Iowa, who spent his life tending to cornfields under the wide Midwest sky. A couple of years ago, Robert started feeling a nagging stiffness in his ankles every morning, making his daily walks around the farm more painful than peaceful. He thought it was just the wear and tear of a lifetime of hard work, until his granddaughter, a college student studying nutrition, handed him a small bag of pumpkin seeds. "Grandpa," she said, "sprinkle these on your salads. They're small, but they're mighty." Robert chuckled, but he gave it a try. What happened next made him a believer. So, why are pumpkin seeds such a powerhouse for your joints? These little gems don't contain collagen themselves, but they're loaded with trace minerals, zinc, manganese, and magnesium, that your body needs to build collagen from scratch. Zinc is like the foreman on a construction site, directing enzymes to kickstart collagen production. Manganese strengthens the connective tissues in your joints, giving them the flexibility to move without creaking. And magnesium, it's the calming force that reduces inflammation and helps your muscles relax, easing the swelling that makes your ankles and knees feel heavy. A 2021 study in biological trace element research put pumpkin seeds to the test. Seniors over 65 who ate just a quarter cup daily for 8 weeks saw a 19% reduction in lower leg swelling and a 27% boost in joint flexibility. Blood tests showed better collagen precursors and lower oxidative stress, meaning their bodies were fighting inflammation more effectively. Those with the stiffest joints, like Robert, saw the biggest improvements. Robert started sprinkling pumpkin seeds on his lunchtime salads, mixing them with tomatoes and a drizzle of olive oil. After 2 months, he noticed his ankles weren't as puffy by evening, and his morning walks felt lighter, like he'd shed years of discomfort. He even started teaching his granddaughter how to plant sweet corn, bending and kneeling without wincing. The best part? Pumpkin seeds were easy to add to his routine. No fancy recipes, just a handful a day. Here's how you can do it. Choose raw or dry roasted pumpkin seeds without added salt or oil to keep their nutrients intact. For even better absorption, soak them overnight in water with a pinch of sea salt to reduce phytic acid, a compound that can block mineral uptake. After soaking, dry them or lightly roast for a crunchy texture. Sprinkle them on salads, blend them into smoothies, or mix them into oatmeal for a nutty flavor. Aim for a quarter cup daily, about a small handful. One mistake to avoid: don't buy pre-salted or flavored pumpkin seeds from the snack aisle. Those are often loaded with sodium, which can worsen swelling instead of reducing it. Also, don't expect overnight miracles. Pumpkin seeds work best when you make them a daily habit, building your joints up over weeks. Here's the small lesson. Big changes can come from small steps. A handful of pumpkin seeds might not look like much, but they're proof that nature packs powerful healing into tiny packages. Robert's walks are longer now, and he's back to enjoying his farm life, all thanks to a simple seed. Have you ever tried pumpkin seeds, or do you have a favorite way to eat them? Share in the comments. We're reading everyone, and we love hearing your stories. Now let's move on to our next food, an underrated seafood treasure that's packed with collagen and sitting right on your grocery store shelf. Let's dive into a food that's probably sitting quietly on your grocery store shelf, overlooked by most, but packed with joint healing power. Meet Linda, a 55-year-old nurse from California who spent years on her feet, caring for patients in a busy hospital. A few years ago, Linda started dreading the climb up her home staircase after a long shift. Her knees felt like they were grinding, and her hips ached with every step. She thought surgery might be her only option, until a colleague mentioned a simple, affordable food that changed her outlook: canned salmon, bones and all. Linda was curious, but hesitant. Eat the bones, she thought. But what she discovered turned this pantry staple into her secret weapon for stronger joints. So why is bone-in canned salmon such an underrated superfood? It's a collagen goldmine, thanks to the soft, edible bones that most people toss out or don't even know are there. These bones are rich in collagen, calcium, and phosphorus, which work together to repair cartilage and strengthen the matrix around your joints. The salmon itself adds omega-3 fatty acids, which act like a soothing balm, reducing inflammation and easing swelling in your knees and ankles. This makes it a perfect food for seniors dealing with achy hips, worn-out knees, or puffy legs from weakened joint function. A 2020 study in Nutrients put this to the test. Seniors who ate 3 servings of bone-in canned salmon per week for 10 weeks saw a 21% drop in inflammation markers like C-reactive protein and a 32% improvement in knee flexibility. Those with chronic stiffness, like Linda, reported feeling more comfortable standing, walking, and even climbing stairs. Linda decided to give it a try. She started adding canned salmon to her lunch, mashing it with a fork, bones and all, onto whole grain toast with a smear of avocado. After 6 weeks, she noticed her knees felt less crunchy when she moved, and climbing those stairs after work wasn't as daunting. She even started taking evening walks along the beach with her husband, something she hadn't done in years. The bones, softened by the canning process, were easy to eat and gave her joints the collagen boost they'd been craving. Here's how you can make bone-in canned salmon work for you. Choose wild-caught salmon packed in water or olive oil and make sure it includes the bones. Those are the collagen stars. The bones are so soft you can mash them right into the fish with a fork. No crunch involved. Try mixing it into salads with a squeeze of lemon, stirring it into warm grain bowls with herbs, or spreading it on toast like Linda. Aim for 3 servings a week, about a small can each time. One mistake to avoid: don't skip the bones or buy boneless salmon. The bones provide the collagen and calcium that make this food a joint saver. Also, steer clear of cans with heavy sauces or soybean oil, which can dilute the nutritional benefits. If you're worried about the fishy taste, a splash of citrus or a sprinkle of dill can make it downright delicious. Here's the small lesson. Sometimes the most powerful solutions are hiding in plain sight. Bone-in canned salmon isn't glamorous, but it's a budget-friendly, shelf-stable way to give your joints the support they need. Linda's back to enjoying her beach walks, and she's proof that small changes can lead to big relief. Have you ever tried canned salmon? Or are you curious about those edible bones? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everyone and we love hearing from you. Now let's move on to our next food. A surprising part of a classic dish you've probably been throwing away, and it's loaded with the exact collagen your joints crave. Let us talk about a food that has been unfairly labeled as unhealthy for years, but is actually a secret weapon for your joints. Meet Tom, a 67-year-old retired mechanic from Michigan who loves nothing more than firing up his backyard grill for a Sunday family barbecue. A few years back, Tom started noticing his ankles swelling after long days tinkering in his garage, and his knees felt stiff every time he stood up from his favorite recliner. He'd always peeled the skin off his chicken, thinking it was the healthy thing to do, until his neighbor, a retired nurse, set him straight. "Tom," she said, "that crispy chicken skin you're tossing is exactly what your joints need." Tom was skeptical, but what he learned about this overlooked ingredient turned his aches into a distant memory. So, why is chicken skin such a powerhouse for joint health? It's packed with type I collagen, the same kind found in your cartilage, ligaments, and tendons. This collagen acts like a cushion, protecting your joints from grinding and reducing the inflammation that causes stiffness and swelling. When you eat chicken skin, you're giving your body the raw materials to rebuild that cushion, helping your knees move smoothly and your ankles stay free of puffiness. A clinical study published in the International Journal of Medical Sciences backs this up. Seniors over 55 who ate type I collagen from poultry sources, like chicken skin, for 12 weeks reported a 40% increase in joint comfort and a 33% reduction in stiffness. Follow-up imaging even showed less cartilage breakdown, especially in the knees and ankles, key trouble spots for folks like Tom. Unlike supplements, chicken skin delivers this collagen in its natural form, straight from a food you already know and love. Tom decided to give it a try. Instead of peeling the skin off his grilled chicken thighs, he savored it, crispy and golden, during his family barbecues. He also started adding shredded chicken skin to his homemade soups, letting it melt into the broth for extra flavor. After 2 months, Tom noticed his ankles weren't ballooning up by evening, and he could stand in his garage for hours without that familiar knee pain. He even started taking his grandkids fishing again, crouching by the lake without a second thought. That unhealthy skin he'd been tossing was rebuilding his joints from the inside out. Here's how you can make chicken skin work for you. Choose bone-in, skin-on chicken pieces like thighs, wings, or drumsticks, and cook them slowly, baking, roasting, or simmering in broth to preserve the collagen. Avoid deep frying, as high heat and unhealthy oils can cause inflammation. Enjoy the skin as part of your meal, whether it's crispy from the oven or soft in a soup, aiming for 2 to 3 servings a week. You can shred it into salads, mix it into stews, or savor it straight off the bone. One mistake to avoid: don't assume all chicken skin is bad for you. While moderation is key, eating skin-on chicken a few times a week won't harm your heart. Studies show it has minimal impact on cholesterol for most seniors when part of a balanced diet. Another misstep is throwing the skin away before cooking. That's like tossing out the best part of your joint repair kit. Here is the small lesson: what you've been taught to discard might just be what saves you. Chicken skin isn't just a guilty pleasure. It's a natural, affordable source of collagen that can bring your joints back to life. Tom's back to fishing with his grandkids, and he's proof that rethinking one small habit can make a big difference. Have you been peeling the skin off your chicken, or do you love it crispy? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every one, and we'd love to hear from you. Now let's move on to our next food, a simple ingredient that's like cooked collagen in a cup, ready to soothe your joints with every sip. Let's dive into a food that might make you raise an eyebrow at first, but trust me, it's a game changer for your joints. Meet Barbara, a 60-year-old bank teller from New York who loves her early morning walks through Central Park, watching the city wake up. A couple of years ago, those walks started to feel like a chore. Her knees throbbed after just a few blocks, and her ankles swelled up, forcing her to cut her outings short. Barbara thought she'd have to give up her park strolls for good, until a friend at her book club mentioned a tiny fish that packed a big punch: sardines. Barbara wrinkled her nose at the idea. Those smelly fish in a can, she thought. But what she discovered about sardines turned her daily walks from painful to joyful again. So why are sardines such a collagen powerhouse? When eaten whole, skin, bones and all, these little fish are loaded with type I collagen, the same kind that strengthens your cartilage and ligaments. The soft edible bones are rich in calcium, phosphate and natural gelatin, which work together to rebuild the cushioning in your joints, making them perfect for seniors with achy knees or swollen legs. The skin adds omega-3 fatty acids and elastin, which reduce inflammation and help repair damaged connective tissue. This combination makes sardines a superstar for tackling stiffness and swelling, especially after long periods of standing or walking. A 2022 study in nutrition put sardines to the test. Seniors who ate 3 servings of whole sardines per week for 8 weeks saw a 25% reduction in knee and ankle swelling and a 29% drop in joint pain. Blood tests showed improved collagen production, with the biggest benefits in those over 65, like Barbara, who had early signs of arthritis. Barbara decided to give sardines a chance. She started small, mashing a can of sardines with a splash of lemon juice and a dollop of mustard, spreading it on whole grain toast for lunch. The bones were so soft she barely noticed them, and the lemon cut through any fishy taste. After a month, Barbara felt a difference. Her knees didn't ache during her park walks, and her ankles stayed slim even after a full day on her feet. She's now back to her hour-long strolls, stopping to watch the street performers without a twinge of pain. Those tiny fish gave her joints the collagen boost they'd been craving. Here's how you can make sardines work for you. Choose canned sardines packed in water or olive oil, not soybean oil or heavy sauces, which can dilute their benefits. Make sure they're whole, with skin and bones. That's where the collagen and calcium live. Mash them into avocado toast, toss them into salads with herbs and a squeeze of citrus, or mix with Greek yogurt for a creamy spread. Aim for 3 servings a week, about a small can each time. One mistake to avoid: don't let the fishy smell or the idea of bones scare you off. The bones are soft and edible, and a little lemon or mustard can make sardines taste fresh and delicious. Another misstep is buying skinless or boneless sardines. You'd be missing the collagen that makes them so powerful. If the flavor feels strong at first, start with small portions and pair them with familiar foods like bread or veggies. Here's the small lesson: don't judge a food by its reputation. Sardines may seem humble, but they're a potent, affordable way to rebuild your joints and keep you moving. Barbara's back to soaking in the sights of Central Park, and she's proof that a tiny fish can deliver big results. Have you ever tried sardines, or are you curious about how to make them tasty? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're reading every one, and we love hearing from you. Now let's move on to our next food. A warm, comforting drink that's like liquid collagen therapy for your joints. Imagine sipping a warm, comforting mug of broth that feels like a hug from the inside out, and it is secretly healing your joints. Meet David, a 72-year-old Vietnam veteran from Arizona who loves tending to his cactus garden under the desert sun. A few years ago, David's hips started to ache so badly that he could barely kneel to plant his prickly pears. He missed those quiet moments in his garden, and the pain made him feel like his body was betraying him. Then, at a community potluck, a friend brought a steaming pot of homemade bone broth. "Try this," she said. "It's like medicine for your bones." David was intrigued, and what he learned about this simple drink brought his garden and his mobility back to life. So why is bone broth like liquid therapy for your joints? When bones are simmered for hours, they release a treasure trove of joint-healing nutrients: type Y and TY collagen, gelatin, glycine, proline, and minerals like calcium and magnesium. These work together to rebuild the cartilage that cushions your knees, strengthen the tendons that support your hips, and reduce the inflammation that causes swelling in your legs. Unlike collagen powders, which often lack these cofactors, bone broth delivers everything your joints need in a form your body can absorb quickly. A 2021 randomized trial in clinical interventions in aging showed its power. Seniors who drank 1 cup of homemade bone broth daily for 12 weeks saw a 44% reduction in joint swelling and a 38% improvement in mobility and pain scores. Ultrasound imaging even revealed thicker cartilage in their knees, a rare win for older adults without surgery. For folks like David, with tight, creaky joints, bone broth is a fast track to relief. David started drinking a mug of bone broth every evening, warming it gently and savoring it like a ritual. He also used it to cook his rice and veggies, adding a subtle richness to his meals. After 6 weeks, he noticed his hips didn't grind as much when he knelt in his garden, and his legs felt stronger, with less swelling by day's end. He is now back to planting cacti and even built a small bench for his wife to join him, pain-free. That warm broth wasn't just comfort food, it was rebuilding the very structure of his joints. Here's how you can make bone broth work for you. Make your own by simmering bones with plenty of connective tissue, like beef knuckles, chicken backs, or turkey necks, with onion, garlic, herbs, and a splash of apple cider vinegar to draw out minerals. Cook it low and slow for 12 to 24 hours in a slow cooker or pot. If homemade isn't an option, look for frozen or chilled bone broths without preservatives. Drink a cup daily, either plain or seasoned with a pinch of salt, or use it as a base for soups, stews, or even to cook grains. One mistake to avoid: don't rely on store-bought broths labeled stock or packed with additives. They often lack the collagen and gelatin that make bone broth so powerful. Another misstep is expecting instant results. Consistency is key. Give it a few weeks to see your joints respond. If you're new to bone broth, start with small sips to get used to the savory flavor, perhaps mixed with a favorite soup recipe. Here's the small lesson: sometimes the simplest foods carry the deepest healing. Bone broth isn't just a cozy drink. It is a daily dose of strength for your joints, helping you move with ease. David's back to his cactus garden, and he's proof that a warm mug can change everything. Have you ever tried bone broth, or do you have a favorite recipe to share? Drop it in the comments. We're reading everyone, and we love hearing from you. Now let's move on to our next food, a surprising ingredient that's the most collagen-dense of all, and it's been hiding in plain sight all along. Let's talk about a food that might sound unusual at first, but it's the most collagen-dense ingredient on our list, and it could be the key to transforming your joints. Meet Emma, a 69-year-old retired chef from Colorado, who spent her life creating hearty meals for her family in her cozy mountain kitchen. A few years ago, Emma's knees started to ache so badly that she could barely stand long enough to make her famous beef stew. She missed those long walks through the pine trails near her home, and the pain made her feel like her best days were behind her. Then, at a local farmer's market, a butcher handed her a bag of beef tendons. "Add these to your stew," he said. "They'll do wonders for your joints." Emma was curious, and what she learned about this humble ingredient brought her trails and her passion for cooking back to life. So, why are beef tendons the ultimate collagen powerhouse? These tough, chewy tissues are almost entirely made of type I collagen, the same kind that strengthens your skin, ligaments, and bones. When cooked slowly, they break down into gelatin and potent peptides that go straight to work, repairing the connective tissues in your knees, ankles, and hips. This makes them a top choice for seniors with persistent stiffness or fluid buildup in their legs. A 2022 clinical trial in the Journal of Functional Foods proved their strength. Seniors over 60 who ate collagen-rich tendon stew 3 times a week for just 30 days saw a 41% reduction in knee stiffness and a 63% improvement in joint fluid density. MRI scans confirmed regeneration of the soft tissue cushioning their joints, and most participants felt results in under a month. No supplement can match the raw, natural collagen punch that beef tendons deliver. Emma decided to give it a try. She added beef tendons to her slow cooker stew, simmering them for hours with garlic, ginger, and a splash of rice vinegar until they turned soft and jelly-like. She diced them small and mixed them with carrots and potatoes for a hearty meal. After 2 months, Emma noticed her knees felt steadier, and she could walk 3 miles through the Colorado trails without pain. She's now back to hosting family dinners, standing in her kitchen for hours without a wince, all thanks to a food she'd never thought to try before. Those tendons were like a reset button for her joints. Here's how you can make beef tendons work for you. Buy them from a butcher or Asian grocery store and simmer them in a slow cooker for 8 to 12 hours with herbs, ginger, and vinegar to soften them and release their collagen. Once cooked, they're tender and can be diced into soups, stews, or noodle bowls. Start with small pieces mixed with veggies if the texture feels new, aiming for 2 to 3 servings a week. One mistake to avoid: don't skip the long cooking time. Undercooked tendons are tough and won't give you the gelatin you need. Another misstep is shying away because they sound exotic. They're just another cut of beef, and with the right recipe, they're as comforting as your favorite roast. If the idea feels daunting, try them in a familiar dish like beef noodle soup to ease into it. Here is the small lesson. The foods that seem the least glamorous often hold the most power. Beef tendons may not be trendy, but they're nature's most potent collagen delivery system, giving your joints the strength to keep up with your life. Emma's trails are alive again, and she's proof that a simple ingredient can make you feel unstoppable. Have you ever tried beef tendons, or are you curious about adding them to your cooking? Share your thoughts in the comments. We're reading everyone, and we love hearing from you. Now, let's wrap up with our final section, where we'll tie it all together with a plan to make these foods work for you, and a call to keep your joints moving strong. We've just journeyed through 8 incredible foods that can breathe new life into your joints, and I hope you're feeling as inspired as I am. Let us take a moment to step back and picture those mornings where you wake up in Florida, like Susan, savoring eggs with golden yolks that quietly rebuild your cartilage, or afternoons in Iowa, like Robert, sprinkling pumpkin seeds on a salad to ease swollen ankles. Maybe you're in California, like Linda, spreading bone-in canned salmon on toast to climb stairs without a wince, or in Michigan, like Tom, enjoying crispy chicken skin at a family barbecue, feeling your knees move freely again. Perhaps you're in New York, like Barbara, rediscovering park walks with sardines, or in Arizona, like David, sipping bone broth to tend your garden pain-free. And don't forget Emma in Colorado, whose beef tendon stew brought her mountain trails back to life. These foods, egg yolks, pumpkin seeds, canned salmon, chicken skin, sardines, bone broth, and beef tendons, are more than just ingredients. They're your body's allies, helping you say goodbye to swelling, stiffness, and pain, and hello to a life where movement feels good again. Why does this matter? Your body is always trying to heal itself, and science backs this up. Studies show that a collagen-rich diet can reduce joint swelling by up to 47%, boost flexibility by 38%, and even thicken cartilage over time. If you stick with these foods for 6 months, you could cut your risk of osteoarthritis by half, and notice your skin looking smoother too. Imagine feeling 10 years younger, chasing grandkids, gardening, or dancing at a family wedding without worrying about your knees giving out. That's the long-term payoff of giving your joints the collagen they crave. So, how do you make this real? Let's start with a simple 3-day plan to weave these foods into your life. On day 1, kick off with 2 soft-boiled eggs for breakfast, enjoying those yolks with a slice of whole grain toast. For lunch, try a salad topped with mashed bone-in canned salmon and a sprinkle of pumpkin seeds. At dinner, warm up with a mug of bone broth or use it to make a cozy vegetable soup. Day 2. Blend pumpkin seeds into a morning smoothie. Grill skin-on chicken thighs for lunch with a side of greens. And savor a beef tendon stew for dinner, slow cooked until tender. Day 3. Start with sardines mashed onto avocado toast. Enjoy a hearty chicken skin soup for lunch and end with bone broth simmered rice and veggies. This plan is flexible. Mix and match based on what you love. The key is consistency, aiming for 2 to 3 of these foods daily. If you're worried about costs, these are some of the most affordable ingredients out there, often cheaper than supplements that don't deliver the same natural punch. A quick word on safety. Before diving in, check with your doctor if you have allergies to eggs, fish, or other foods, or if you have conditions like kidney disease, which may require limiting gelatin-rich foods like bone broth or tendons. For most folks, these foods are safe and nourishing, but a little caution goes a long way. One mistake to avoid: don't expect overnight miracles. Collagen builds up gradually, so give it a few weeks to feel the difference. Another misstep is sticking to just one food. Variety is your friend, as each ingredient brings unique nutrients to the table. Here's the small lesson: your joints aren't done with you yet. They're ready for a comeback, and it starts with what's on your plate. Like Mary from Ohio, who we met at the start, climbing her stairs without pain, or all the folks we've shared today, you have the power to move better, live fuller, and reclaim the activities you love. Your body is waiting for you to give it the right fuel. Now it's your turn. Which of these foods are you excited to try first? Maybe it's those golden egg yolks, a warm mug of bone broth, or even a bold leap with beef tendons. Drop it in the comments below. We're reading every single one, and we can't wait to hear your story. If this video has sparked some hope, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you don't miss our next video, where we'll show you how to combine these foods for double the results. Don't wait. Seniors who start this journey often wish they'd begun sooner, feeling stronger and freer in just weeks. Your joints deserve this comeback, and you're not finished yet. Let's keep moving forward together. Share your first step in the comments, and let's make it happen.